All right, this video is for our catechetical years. So Sprouts, kindergarten, first grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. This video is for you. Those of you who are volunteering in sacramental preparation, years 1, years 2, you guys can go to the next video. So this video, we're going to be talking about the teacher planner that you receive. So I have a hard copy, and then I'm also going to share my screen so you can see, the digital version. These are each going to be unique to the classroom, but they are going to share a lot of the same elements. So this is my kindergarten teaching planner. An example of that. So this is the kind of table of contents that you'll see. And as you can see, there are units with lessons beneath. So each unit has, for this one, it's 4 different lessons that are supporting that overall unit. So if you were approaching this calendar, I would actually suggest that you try to keep those units together. And when I taught kindergarten, I actually realized I could combine 2 lessons into one because they were very similar. So as you go and dive into your teacher planner for the other grades, you might discover that same thing. And we might be doing a couple different curriculums for kindergarten as an FYI. So that's the table of contents. If we start looking a little bit further, a lot of times you're given kind of a specific layout of the lesson objective of each lesson. So again, in kindergarten, you can see you have your chapter name, you have the major concept, you have keywords, and you have the Bible story that is supporting that lesson. So you can see that at an eagle eye level, a very high level, before you get into the actual lesson plans. When you go into a lesson plan, you're going to see, depending upon the curriculum you're using, let's see. Here's our lesson 1, God created the world lesson. So for the kindergarten, there's often like an overview statement of, again, what the catechist should be thinking about when approaching a lesson. And then you're going to turn the page and you'll see in each of these bullets and sections. So that's going to be really similar no matter what curriculum you're teaching. So it talks, about welcome, about gathering and teaching. There's applying and praying, and there's bullets below each of those, and they are listed or written like instructions to you. So the best way, if you're teaching, this is maybe a good video for those who are teaching, sit down for an hour before class. So maybe an hour over the weekend or an hour in the morning sometime, and just look at the upcoming lesson plan and read through all of the bullets. If you have one of these hard copies, that we purchased, that's nice and spiral bound, don't mark that up if you don't mind. You can come to church and actually run photocopies of a lesson if you want to mark it up. What I did is I often typed up notes for myself because I was extra neurotic. But you can kind of even just look at the bullets and follow the instructions. I wouldn't do this like just going and showing up to class and like starting to look at the bullets. But if you review them ahead of time, if you take an hour to kind of familiarize yourself, you'll be able to scan through the bullets and know what you're supposed to do next. And if you're a new volunteer and you're teaching for the first time, this is going to be a little bit trial and error as far as how long it's going to take you to cover material, especially how quickly you might get through material. So if you're teaching at a younger grade, I would have some coloring sheets like prepared and set aside in case you get done like 20 minutes early and you just need to cover some time. You're going to just kind of get to know the curriculum and how fast you cover it as you go. If you have more experience, you'll kind of have a gut feeling for how long this is going to take. For our 4th and 5th grade, if you need to kill some time, again, classroom discussions are really, I think, great for that group. So you can think of different topics that, ask the kids. There was quite a lot of discussion this past year about bullying. So you can ask the kids, hey, have you guys experienced any bullying in the classroom? And of course, our approach to bullying as Christians is that we need to identify injustice when when there is injustice and try to help people. And then we also try to guide the kids that it isn't about them standing up necessarily directly, that maybe the best way for them to stand up for someone is to like go get a teacher's help, etc. But when you look at any of these curriculum, you'll just kind of follow the bullets along and it will teach you what to say, what to do. So for instance, in this apply section, it says at the top, you're going to be working on the children's leaflet activity. So you know that you're going to be pulling out from their folders the children's leaflets. So this is an example of our 4th grade curriculum. Let me just open this so you can see. It's rather representative of what you'll have no matter what grade you're teaching, is there's always an activity leaflet for you to use. So let's pull this open and see. Often the activity leaflets will start with a prayer in the front, and then there's going to be, when you open it, activities for them to work on. So that's kind of what that bullet is describing. And then usually on the back of these, there's stuff for the parents. So the idea is that the kids will complete this in class, and then they will take it home and they can show their parent, and if their parent is curious about what they learned, it's all right here. But let's go on reading that bullet. So I did not look at this ahead of time, so we're just improvising here. So work on the children's leaflet activity. Distribute the children's leaflets and have the children open them. Point to the text at the top of the 2 pages and read it aloud to them, which in this case it says, God is the creator, God made the whole world, God made heaven and earth, God looked at all he created, God said it is good. Explain that God created both living and non-living things. Share with the children that one of the things that tells us something is living things grow. So you can talk a little bit like, what are living things? And then non-living things. And that's some of the lesson activity. This is, again, kindergarten, is circle the living thing versus the not living thing. Now, I'm going to share my page so we can actually look together, share my screen. All right. So this is from our 1st grade, which is a different curriculum. It's our St. Mary's Press. But again, you can start to see we have a table of contents that lays out all of the lessons. The lessons are in units, so they're below like an overall unit, each of these lessons. So there's 5 lessons, 5 chapters in one unit in this particular curriculum. So, we have kind of an explanation of the overall objective of the entire course here, and then talking about how we're going to be using our Bibles. So this starts to break down like how you will approach so the 1st chapter, 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, 5th chapter, what's going to be happening within the lesson. And then this gives you all of the components of the program. So this is like what is inside of this folder that the kids get. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. So this points out like what's happening in the lesson plans. So it's telling you like the get ready, the dive in section, and what you should be focusing on, like what the purpose of those sections are in the lesson plan. Same thing with the core teaching, and then your go section. So we scroll on down. Here we have, this is more of a tabular eagle eye view of what is happening in this curriculum. So same thing that we just saw in kindergarten, you can take a really quick eagle eye view at the chapter by chapter level, and this is dividing them into units. All right, and then let's go ahead and get into a lesson. So here we are. The God created the world. So this is showing you the lesson at the glance. Like I said, there's usually a page ahead of the lesson that really focuses on what the learning objectives are. So like lesson goals are right here, etc. And then we dive into the lesson. So you can see, there's sections. This one is telling you approximately how much time each section should take, which is kind of helpful. You can gauge your own teaching against that and kind of know if you're running fast or slow. And then just like the other planner, there's bulleted instructions. Invite the children to turn to page 1 of chapter 1 activity booklet. Take time to review how to make the sign of the cross. Begin the prayer. So one hot tip for those teaching younger grades is learn how to do a reverse sign of the cross, because kids at younger ages, they look at us like mirrors. It confuses kids at older ages if you do a reverse sign of the cross, but if you do a normal sign of the cross with the littles, they start using the wrong hand and get really confused. So that's a hot tip there. Again, you just kind of approach bullet by bullet and you follow the instructions. And again, take an hour to look at this ahead of time. I have some of these digitally, so if you'd want a digital copy of your lesson planner in addition to the hard copy, if it helps you to have the digital version to be able to like copy and paste stuff, just let me know. I'll see if I can get digitals if I can. So this again is showing you, this is everything that you're going to be going through in that single chapter, all the way to like your closing prayer and lesson wrapped up. And you're going to jump to, additional activities. So in some of our curriculum, these are time fillers. So if you move through the curriculum really fast, or if when you're reviewing, you see it's telling you to do an activity and you're like, ooh, I'm not going to do that. Like that's going to be crazy with these kids. These are offered up as alternatives, so you can kind of implement one of these without too much difficulty, and they'll still support the overall objective to the chapter. So this will dive into the next chapter. So I hope that, let me see if I can stop sharing. The purpose of this video was to give you a little bit of a level of comfort with actually grabbing this hard curriculum, this teaching plan, and starting to teach from it. It is laid out to support those who, like me, have no teaching experience. I've been volunteering in faith formation and I've taught a number of the grade levels at this point, prior to coming into this role, but I have no actual teaching experience. And so for those like me who have no teaching experience and who in fact can't even fathom being a vocational teacher, this is very helpful and it's laid out for you. For those of us with teaching experience, this is going to be a piece of cake. It's super simple. So you don't have to do any like profound lesson planning when you approach the curriculum this way. And again, you're teaching in our catechetical years, so you can start with one, end with lesson 22. There's 22 class sessions that you'll be teaching. Or you can kind of puzzle things out. You can make room for kind of non-book learning, like visiting the baptismal font, visiting the adoration chapel, etc. So I hope that this video helps you to understand how to approach actually teaching in the classroom. And I hope that this is helpful again on your onboarding activity. See ya.